Hello. Welcome to a special night of the Normal America Show. Because it's tonight. Tomorrow will be a different special night, but tonight is special because it's the only Normal America show ever in history, unless there's parallel universes, that will occur exactly on the date of May 26, 2026. Amazing. And you were here for this historic moment. If that's not cool, I don't know what is. Of course, if you're getting your opinion on what's cool from a fat, aging, bald man, want to know what happened to me today? I had a great day. First off, ask Gary the numbers guy. Yeah, maybe there's some significance. So I had a great day today. As you all know, if you were here last night, I had a field trip with my son, his last sort of thing that he's doing. So his last day of school was officially last Wednesday, but that was preschool. The rest of the school continues until this Thursday. So they had a field trip today to a local place that's in the state park here. And they had like a little mini Chuck E. Cheese type arcade. And then mini golf. He would not play me at mini golf. I was trying to goad him in. I was like, your old man's the champ. He won't lose. So you can try all you want. I'm not going to lose. And he goes, Dad, I believe you're the champ, but I'm still going to beat you. But then we didn't play. We got busy with other stuff. So we went swimming. And of course, I was the only dad that was in the swimming pool because he wanted me to go in. He's very scared of water. And I understand why. When I was 3, I fell in a pool and almost drowned. So I sort of get it. I get it, dude. So I got in the pool with him. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time. But one thing did happen. And it's a bit embarrassing. But I will say, it's about me, not about my son. Something embarrassing happened. So let's go back in time. 8, 9 years ago. Around then. We went to see, was it that long ago? I don't know. It was more than 5 years ago, I think. Anyways, we went to see Farm Aid in Pittsburgh. And this was the concert that's put on. It was originally started by Willie Nelson and John Cougar Mellencamp. So they were playing, and Neil Young was playing, and Sheryl Crow played. I think the Avett brothers were there. It was a good show. I was a bit tipsy. It's out in the sun all day. And the next day, something happened to me. I'm going to show you something, and it's shocking. So don't flip out. But something terrible happened. I had been fighting the lie that I wasn't losing my hair. And I unfortunately got sunburned on the top of my bald head. And unfortunately, once more today, I did a good job with sunscreen, but I didn't put any on my bald head. And look at that. Oh no! The wisps of hair I have left was not enough. Look at it. So now I got a little bit of sunburn on my bald head. Should have wore my hat in the pool. Stop it. No Brian Shaprio mentions. It was unfortunate development. It's time to shave it off. I can't. My wife doesn't want me to shave it off, so I don't really give a shit. Did I have a skullet? No, I used to have long hair, but I never did the skullet. Never rocked it. If I was single, I'd rock skullet mustache. That's what I would do. Just the long hair skullet with the big old mustache. Maybe the one that just runs down here. That's what I would rock. So, Brian Shaprio. Would you guys leave him alone? Not every show needs to have a Brian Shaprio mention.
Women in messages, has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He Brian Shaprio. He harasses women
Oh,
in
shit.
messages.
No! It's on loop. We don't need that. We could just play that on loop for 2 hours. What do you think? Would it get it as annoying as whip songs? I don't know. So of course we got some show to cover tonight, which we will, and then tonight, of course, is the Chad of the Month, where the great Jim Hayes will defend his title for being Chad of the Month. If you win the Chad of the Month award, you get a nice song made about you in the style that you want. You'll be forever memorialized as an official Chad of the Month. I'll explain how to win later in the show. So pinned in both Rumble and YouTube, today will be half-priced whip songs. So the normal $100 will be $50 for a wheel, $75 instead of $150 for picking a specific song. Oh, Law Chad. I take offense and also love the idea of the word. There you go. And then create your own song for $100. That'll be the rule tonight, but we're going to save that for the end of the show. Obviously, if you donate now, we'll still do that come the end of the show, but what else was I going to say? Yeah, maybe to cancel now it's 5 times instead of $200. It's $1,000. Someone donates $1,000, we'll cancel it. Man, what a good day though. I have a lot of fun with my son. He's a great dude, so I was happy to go. And of course, I got to meet. I've met his class before, but it's cool to watch him like at a playground and at an arcade with his friends from school. It's very cool. $10,000 for a 24-hour whip stream. I'll go right now. If someone donates $10,000 in the next 20 minutes, sure, I'll sit here for 24 hours and play whip songs. No problem. $10 for just blank air. Yeah, we'll do 2 minutes of blank air for $100 as well. But man, it was a lot of fun. Anyways, today then we'll do a regular show and then we'll do the bullshittery at the end here. First off, it's a weird night for a show because my 2 co-hosts of the extravaganza are both streaming as we speak. Andrew Wilson was supposed to have a debate and then something happened. I was watching that before I came on here. And his opponent like changed it. Was like, well, instead of debating me, let's make it a 2-on-1. That's weak shit. Get out of here with that shit. Right? Whip song fatigue's been set in with me for like 9 months. You know? And then the great Jake Rattlesnake, as we speak, is on Tim Pool's show. So, you know, I'm glad that you all decided to be here with me instead of those 2 bozos. They're talking about who knows what. We're going to talk about important shit. That's what we're going to talk about. Don't you agree? I think that of the shows that you could watch, for real, am I not usually talking about more important shit than the rest of my friends who I get are from time to time, you know, debating really important people, saying really important stuff. But in general, you'll have to admit that I'm usually, in my opinion, I'm usually doing much better when it comes to important stories. You don't have to take my word for it, though. I don't dick around with those other people. I think most people understand that I'm 100% serious. We don't shit around with that other stuff. It's not just me, even my opponents, like Destiny and them know. That's why he doesn't want to debate me. I can even talk to my opponents. They'll tell you, like, watch. Really, don't you think people should watch me because I'm more serious talking about serious things, don't you think?
Only if you're a pretty kitty.
That's unfortunate. I don't feel like a pretty kitty. A bit. Maybe I should ask Jake. Jake, what do you think, man? Are you willing to agree, Jake Rattlesnake? At least that I'm usually talking about the more important stories. What do you think, Jake? See, he knows. His silence says everything. Fuentes is getting excited for what? Oh, the cat thing. I was going to say, this is a bad night for Fuentes, I think. And for a lot of the people calling. We'll talk about it. Now, before we begin, what does everyone think of my title? What a great creative title for this video. Am I wrong? Or am I right? Best night for a Paxton since Twister? I mean, come on, that's pretty clever. If you didn't know, if this is just breaking to you, I apologize. I'm glad you're here. So, let me explain. There's been a lot of hubbub about it, and like a lot of people talking about whether or not this was going to be an important thing, and I think that we're seeing tonight that's the case. So if you didn't know, in 1996, the movie Twister came out, and it starred Bill Paxton, and he was fucking awesome. So, spoiler alert, Bill Paxton's awesome in Twister. So, there you go. I have not seen the Twisters, but I heard it's okay. I love Twister. Bill Paxton's Twister. Bill Paxton, underrated actor, man. It's unfortunate he passed away. He's a great actor. I love Bill Paxton. He was always fun, man. Frailties, underrated. Yeah, one of my favorites. Great movie. Twister does have a good plot twist. So does Frailty. Both good twists. He was great in Aliens. Absolutely. The new one sucks. Yeah, that sucks. I heard it was decent. People told me. Frailty, not Fragility. But yeah, it's a great movie. Frailty's a great Christian movie, by the way. Not to give anything away, but you walk away as a Christian like, all right, yeah, that made sense. He was chatting Weird Science. Really? I haven't watched that movie for years and years. Wasn't he the... Was he the guy that was trying to hook up with Arnold's wife in True Lies? Was that also Bill Paxton? Ah, it's my buddy, Tom. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a theater movie. Wonderful Life's great. Yeah. Yeah, he was good as a sniveling little shit in True Lies as well. He's good. See, who would have thought tonight would turn into a Bill Paxton appreciation night? Bill, we miss you. You were great. Yeah, he was in Aliens, absolutely. Good guy. One of those actors always put in solo. I was always happy to see Bill Paxton in a movie. Spaceballs, was he in that? Tombstone, of course. Yeah. Yeah, everyone rightly talks about Val Kilmer in Tombstone, but Bill Paxton's solid. Just a really solid actor. He was in the first Terminator? Really? Damn. Look at this. Now, Bill Pullman was in Independence Day. That's the guy that was in Spaceballs, right? I don't think Bill Paxton was in there. So don't get Bill Pullman confused with Bill Paxton. Two different, both good Bills, though. I won't nary a crossword about Bill Pullman for me either. Has Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton ever shared the screen together? There's a great question. I don't know. I would be interested to see that film. Two best Bill actors of all time? I mean, oh wait, I'm not allowed to say Cosby. He acted innocent at trial. Let's see. Bill Murray. Do you put Paxton and Pullman over Bill Murray? I don't know. Bill Bixby, I don't know as much. Titanic? Bill Paxton was in Titanic? Maybe. Well, anyways, tonight's not about Bill Paxton. Now that we've waxed on about Paxton. And Bruce Campbell is who you're thinking of from Evil Dead, yeah. We're talking about Ken Paxton, is who we're talking about. And he won. He won his primary. Let's just show a couple clips real quick, and then we're going to talk about what it means for tonight. So this is Paxton's celebration here. Pretty exciting atmosphere if you. Here we go. This is just from like 30 minutes ago, I think.
I'll support President Trump's America First agenda and finally secure our nation's elections by passing the Save America Act. I've taken on big food and big pharma as Attorney General, and
I myself have taken on big food.
to continue doing that in the Senate because making America healthy again is critical for our nation's future. As Attorney General, I've sued some of the largest companies in the world like Netflix, Snapchat, and Roblox for taking advantage of our kids by exposing them to dangerous, addictive material. In Washington...
Dude, I could talk all night about Roblox. I'll just spit this out quick because I literally could talk all night. Roblox is fucking evil, man. Like the predators that get on Roblox, like it's such a cool concept for the idea of like kids and even adults that like it's very sandboxy. It gives you the tools that you can make all kinds of little games and stuff like that. But because it's so kid friendly, you get a lot of these shithead predators that get on there, knowing that a lot of parents just, yeah, go ahead, get on your game and play it. And they don't know that they're interacting online with the literal, like, I'm not saying like, you know, like you're playing Call of Duty and people are using crass language. I'm talking about dudes that are actually trying to like groom kids. It's fucking horrible. It's horrible. And yeah, my son will never be playing Roblox. So let's keep going.
I will not stop fighting to protect Texas children from big tech hurting our kids.
Now, the first thing I'll say, and I like Bill Paxton, which has nothing to do with Ken Paxton here. I just screwed up their names. I like Ken Paxton. What's up with his eye? Nothing to do with his winning here, but does he have a weird eye?
Like Netflix, Snapchat, and Roblox for taking advantage of...
Doesn't it look like his right eye is like... Now, I'm no looker, so I don't really care. I never noticed that about Paxton before. A lot of old folks behind him. Yeah, well, that's true. He injured his eye. Okay, well, there you have it. And then let's play some of. This is John Cornyn, his opponent. Here's his concession. Some of it.
Well, good evening, everybody. After a public service career lasting more than 4 decades and 18 consecutive campaign wins, tonight we've come up short in this primary runoff. You know, a few years ago, I had a friend of mine say, you know what makes God laugh? He said, when we make plans. I've spent most of my time in the Senate building the Republican Party in Texas and in the U.S. Senate. And I've always supported the Republican ticket, and I intend to do so again in this general election. I've said throughout this race that I trust the voters of Texas, and they've made their decision, and I must. Well, good evening, everybody.
Sorry, it's repeating here.
After a public.
Now, I had to look this up, but Cornyn has been in office. He will have won 4 Senate terms when he's out. "24 years in the Senate. 24 years. And the final tally, where it stands now, is it looks like Cornyn's going to lose in a huge margin.
We have
like by about 25 percentage points. It looks like it'll be by over 200,000 votes that Cornyn's going to end up losing to Ken Paxton. So I thought that I would discuss what this means. Now, this could be seen as a very bad night for the faction of Republicans that are tired of Trump and are recommending going in a radical different direction. Whether that be your John Thune type Republicans, your establishment, or be your Nick Fuentes type Republicans. And those are basically diametric opposites. You could say it's a bad night for them because this really shows, in one hand, the strength of a Trump endorsement. Now, for those that don't know, let me break down the story as simple as possible. It's a very impressive political story, right? Paxton is a dude who's I forget what position he had. I think he was the attorney general in Texas, and the GOP in Texas, the establishment GOP, decides they're going to go all in with the Democrats, just accusing this guy of all this corruption. And so he has this huge trial and all this bullshit. He ends up coming out on top. And so he wins to be the attorney general again, and then decides he's going to run for the Senate seat. A lot of the establishment GOP, even before he decided he was running against John Cornyn in the Senate, doesn't like him. They don't like him. Now, Cornyn he's one of the most senior Republicans in the Senate. As I said, 24 years he's been in the Senate. And these incumbents, once you get to that level, they're looking out for each other. They're all in a big club and you ain't in on it. Like, they just don't care. This is where the real strength in the sort of legislator comes in both the Republican and Democratic Party with these mass incumbents, these incumbents that win over and over and over and end up being there for 25, 30, 40 years. They just don't lose. The advantage is to being an incumbent. All of the PAC money will go to them. They'll spend millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. Oh, there we go. We get to Nick Fuentes. Paxton's a Zionist. Jews, 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 Jews. Now I'm good. Now I'm speaking the truth. So, there you have from that sector of the world, which we basically don't give a shit what people that are staunchly voting Democrat anyways. Xphobic, you and the people like you, no one gives a shit on our side about your opinion anymore because you tell us you're voting Democrat. So we don't give a fuck if you're happy or unhappy about who wins in the Republican primary because you're voting Democrat. So what do we give a shit? Anyways. Paxton or Cornyn's then one of the sort of old guard, sort of establishment Republicans. Now he's not going to lose this race. A year ago, it would have been unthinkable that Cornyn was going to lose this race. This is the exact type of race that the go along to get along politicians always win. If Cornyn wanted to run for another 3 terms, another 18 years, he would have won comfortably, at least the primaries. There's a chance he could lose a general, but the primaries he would have won. No problem, right? In comes Ken Paxton. He already doesn't get along with a lot of the establishment Republicans, and he's going to run. And a lot of what he's running on is that Cornyn and the people like him in the Senate don't really support Trump's agenda, which they don't. That's true. They don't. So the problem is Trump has a history of supporting even the very old guard establishment neocon type people that don't like him. He'll still come out and endorse him, etc. What you ended up seeing happen was Cornyn was in a tight position where there was jockeying from John Thune and other Republican senators like, hey, Trump, you got to back Cornyn. And there was this was like, 10, 12 weeks ago. It was being reported everywhere. Trump's going to imminently endorse someone in this race. And everybody thought it was going to be Cornyn. Now, this has happened in the past where you've had a more establishment candidate that sort of butted heads with some of Trump's agenda, and then more of a MAGA type of candidate that ran against them, and Trump ends up endorsing the more establishment type candidate. And it's like, why'd you do that? Well, politics, trying to get curry favor, etc. But before Paxton announced that he's running, it sounds like a shoo-in. The problem is there's a lot of people that are fed up with the Republicans, the anti-Trump Republican establishment. They're furious. The easiest way to look at this is the SAVE Act. Some 90% of Republicans favor the SAVE Act, of the average Republican voter. 90% favor the SAVE Act. And yet Republicans in the Senate won't give it to them. They won't. And so now, when people have a voice, they're like, we don't care. We don't care anymore about these establishment Republicans. We elect you, and all you do is pretend that you can't do anything. So we just don't care. So Trump then is trying to negotiate with John Thune for all sorts of things. Trump wants recess appointments. Nope. Trump wants the parliamentarian thrown out. Nope. Trump wants blue slips ended. Nope. Trump wants the SAVE Act. Nope. Senate won't do any of this under John Thune. They control the Senate, but they won't do it. And the truth is because there's anywhere from 6 to 10 Republicans in the Senate that secretly hate Trump, and they want him to fail. And they're against a lot of his agenda. And they, correctly in my opinion, unlike what Nick Fuentes and his followers say, think that if Trump fails, and if it is seen as a large failure of the Trump administration and his hold over the Republican Party, they correctly assume that the party will go more towards their direction, which is what would happen. You could name 15 people that it could go to that are career politicians with fundraising mechanisms, with a ground game network that could end up being the de facto head of the Republican Party. From that side. On the opposite side, on the America First side, there are 0 people with 0 ideas of fundraising and 0 ideas of ground game. So, ironically, again, doing the work of the establishment, do nothing about the border Republicans the most, is the very Republicans telling you to vote Democrat to ensure that Republican leadership changes so it could go back to the Jeb Bush, Paul Ryan, Mitt Romney. That's... Now, brief step back. This is about 12 weeks ago where it becomes imminent that Trump's going to announce. If Trump had supported John Cornyn, I think Cornyn would win. However, Trump doesn't come out and support Cornyn. And the good money was on that's what was going to happen. Instead, Ken Paxton played an incredible gambit. One of the greatest political gambits you'll ever see. And Paxton's gambit is he comes out and he says, listen, I care about the SAVE Act. And so, if John Thune and the establishment Republicans that are going to bat for John Cornyn and want to save John Cornyn's ass, if they either end the filibuster or force a talking filibuster and pass the SAVE Act, I'll consider dropping out. He called John Thune's bluff. He called Cornyn's bluff. They ain't going to do that. And of course, I've told you for years why. The filibuster is a godsend to the Republicans in the Senate because it allows them to lie to their constituents. They could say, well, we can't pass all of this stuff on our agenda because we need 60 votes and we'll never get the Democrats. Ah, shucks. If it wasn't there, if Democrats really wanted to bury Republicans, all they'd have to do is say, yeah, okay, we vote to end the filibuster. There. No problem. No more filibuster. Go ahead, Republicans. You want to pass the SAVE Act? Because they know the truth. Republicans wouldn't. You want to fund the border wall now, Republicans? They know the truth. Republicans wouldn't. That's the truth. So, of course, Cornyn and Thune did exactly what Ken Paxton assumed, which was, we're not going to do that. Now, Paxton and Thune and them are used to Trump still going along to get along, and Trump decided, okay, I'm not going to endorse anyone. Now, I agree with Gigi that said earlier, in a world where Trump doesn't endorse either Paxton or Cornyn, I think Paxton narrowly wins. Actually, narrowly is not even the right word. He would have probably won by 2 to 3%. A healthy margin, but not 25%, like we're seeing. And the reason is because people are furious, rightfully, at Republicans in Congress. They're tired of the do-nothing Republican Senate. That doesn't mean they're going to vote Democrat, but they're going to. I know, this is going to be a mind blow. You ready for this? You want to hear what people are doing? This is going to blow your mind. You ready? They're going to vote for people that they like that is a change in the primaries. Instead of sitting out and doing almost nothing in the primaries and then bitching and saying vote Democrat. They're like, we're going to change it by voting in the primaries. A bold strategy, right? Bold. Who could have seen it coming? But as it was, it looked like Trump wasn't going to endorse anyone. And I thought, and I think the Republicans knew this, they were spending shitloads of money on this race. John Thune and his PACs were spending an assload of money here because they knew they were in trouble. They knew it. So then fast forward to like last week or maybe a week and a half ago, Trump's once more pissed. We had like if you knew all of the shit that Republicans are doing, again, if you just heard what was happening, you would assume, well, Democrats must control the Senate. Like, there's this blue slip rule. And I don't know a lot about this, but this is basically what it is. The rule is not a law. It's just a norm. Something that there's been an agreement on, but nothing in law. And what the blue slip rule basically says is any state that has 2 senators that agree, yeah, we're not going to allow that appointment, we just acquiesce to that. So any state where there's 2 Democrat senators, anytime Trump tries to appoint like a judge or anyone there, they're just like, no. The Republicans could say, tough shit. We're allowed to put them through and we're all going to vote. But they honor the Democrats that are like, no, we're just not going to. Okay. So then what happens is you could have recess appointments. So when the Senate goes on recess, presidents can appoint people to fill these seats without having the Senate vote. So what's the Republicans in Senate do? Instead of going on recess, they have, what are they called? Pro tempore sessions or pro forma sessions, something like that. Which is basically, they keep one Republican around to gavel in. That way they're not technically on recess. They're all back home, they're all on vacation, but they want to make sure Trump doesn't get to appoint those recess appointments. Again, this is Trump's own party intentionally sabotaging it. Then you have the filibuster. Now, I'm not so sure that ending the filibuster is the right idea, but force the talking filibuster. In general, the idea of the filibuster was that the minority side could stand up and talk as long as they wanted to argue against whatever bill was being passed. But the bill only had to pass with a simple majority, so 51 votes or 50 votes within the tiebreaker of the vice president. So basically, if Republicans have 53 people in the Senate or whatever, they wouldn't need 60 votes. The reason you need 60 votes is to overcome a filibuster. But what it was the filibuster used to mean, like if you see Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, it used to mean someone standing on the Senate floor, rah, 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 and they could go for days. But then eventually they'd run out of steam, and they would end. Anyone else? Okay, let's vote. Instead, I don't know when it was, the 80s something maybe, they just adopted this, well, you don't actually have to go out there and talk. If you say, look, we are going to go out there and filibuster, then we just say, oh, okay. Then we need 60 votes to override that. So they don't have to go up. And so the filibuster is now permanent. There's no end to it. Whereas the talking filibuster maybe could last for weeks, but eventually you'd get your vote. The sort of, what they call the zombie filibuster or the non-talking filibuster is in perpetuity. So now you always need 60 votes for anything the other side says they'll filibuster. So I'm not necessarily for ending the filibuster. I'm just for forcing the talking filibuster, which is great. Force the Democrats to go on stage on an 80-20 issue about voter ID and have them talk about how they're against voter ID, how black people are too stupid to get ID. Go ahead. Have the Democrats get up for weeks and argue that. Sounds good to me. Where's the loss? Let them do it. Then vote. But no, Republicans won't do that because the truth is they don't have the votes. That's the truth. Then you have the parliamentarian that was appointed under Obama. Again, another thing that's confusing, but the gist of it is the parliamentarian looks at specific bills and decides which type of bill based on internal rules of the Senate requires 60 votes versus requires 50 votes or requires certain procedures to put the votes up. This isn't someone that I voted for or you voted for. This was an appointment by Barack Obama. And surprise, surprise, constantly ruling that things that Trump wants would require more than the 50 vote margin. So then a couple of weeks ago or so, Trump's allegedly, this is what happened, and I believe this is probably what happened. Trump's like, listen, he's on a phone call with John Thune. Everyone's reported that happened. And Trump was like, you need to get rid of the parliamentarian, which is perfectly fine. You're allowed to. Get rid of the parliamentarian. I think they're fucking us over. Now, this is after Trump was like, Thune, you need to pass the SAVE Act. You need to pass the filibuster. You need to force a talking filibuster. You need to let me do recess appointments. Okay, now you need to get rid of the parliamentarian. So basically, Thune was like, I don't know. And allegedly, Trump was like, okay, got off the phone and immediately went out and was like, I'm endorsing Ken Paxton. And as soon as that happened, it was over. Once Trump endorsed Paxton, that was over. And if you had any questions about this, why do you think Thomas Massie was putting out Trump endorsed me, like memo that he was sending out the day of his election and the day before? Which is true. Trump did endorse Massie in 2022. But Massie was sending it out implying, oh, he's endorsing me now. Why? If Trump's so massively unpopular within the own party, that'd be a mistake, right? It doesn't matter how you pick your vote. That's fair. But a lot of people are going to go the way that Trump suggests. That's why Trump endorsement at this point in the Republican Party is so powerful. Once that was over, the writing was on the wall. John Cornyn was in a lot of trouble. 25-point margin's probably bigger than I would have expected. But if I believe that Paxton would have won by like 2 to 5%, say, which I do, and instead he won by 25%, that means that Trump was able to swing 20 points. I believe if Trump would have endorsed Cornyn, Cornyn would have won. Now, the big news, the two big news to come out of this is, one, there is a war and shots have been fired in the Republican Party for the establishment Republicans in the Senate. What do they do next? Do they decide to dig in their heels and say, fuck this? Because they're pissed about Trump's, here last week, they were apparently furious about Trump's fund that he wants to create for people that have been illegally targeted. And the Republicans are pissed about this in the Senate. So the question becomes, do they keep these fights down and they say, fuck it, we think that inevitably we'll beat Trump and we're going to spend our time trying to take the party back from Trump? That's option one. But then the other takeaway from this that informs what they're going to do, which is the first issue. The second issue is Trump's the man in the Republican Party. He is. And all of those with big plans of invisible candidates that are going to rise up and this, that, and the other. Yeah, this shit ain't happening. There's a 95% chance whoever Trump endorses on his way out the door in 2028 is going to be the candidate for the Republicans. That's just the way it is. With all the shit that we're told that the Republicans are furious with Trump, the Iran conflict, he's a stooge of Netanyahu. Oh my gosh, he's not deporting enough people. Gas prices are high. Some of that I agree, and I'm pissed at Trump with some of that. It does not matter. It's still Trump's party. Overwhelmingly so. So I go back to what I was saying the other day when I was talking about this. The idea of voting Democrat in 2026, or even if you're not suggesting it, and Democrats win in 2026, I don't think it really changes the landscape of what that means for who's running the Republican Party going into 2028. I don't think it changes the landscape at all. If Democrats house Republicans in the midterms, they win the Senate, they win the House by a larger margin than anyone expects. If that occurs, I would still say to you, the number one most likelihood is whoever Trump endorses in 2028 becomes the Republican candidate. I don't think that changes. But to the degree that Democrats winning overwhelmingly does change something, it just changes the second option, which is who would be the second most likely to be the Republican candidate. If Democrats don't win and Republicans win, I would say your two most likely are between Vance and Rubio, whoever Trump endorses, probably Vance, and then Ron DeSantis. Maybe someone considered more right-wing. If the Democrats win, then it's going to be whoever Trump endorses, number one, and number two, it's going to be whoever Paul Ryan endorses or Mitt Romney endorses. So, to me, I think it's these past couple weeks with our primaries that we've had don't show a lot of hope for the people, regardless, forget their motivations, forget whether you think they're right or wrong. It doesn't matter. You could love Trump or hate him. The people that are like, we want to take Trump's grip away from the Republican Party, I don't think these primaries are helping them. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want Trump's grip to be off the Republican Party, it's Republicans you have to convince, not Democrats, who are going to be more than happy to say, yep, Trump's shit. And maybe Paxton winning means Tallarico wins, whereas Cornyn winning means Tallarico would have lost in that race. Maybe. But it's not relevant to how Republican voters are going to feel. They still support Trump. They supported Paxton even before Trump endorsed him because they supported Paxton's message that was pro-Trump. I want the SAVE Act. I want to go after corrupt Democrats. I want to go after corrupt pharma. That's what they supported. Here was someone who pushed back against the Democrats' corruption in lawfare. That's a Trumpian message, even if Trump's not going through with it to the way you would like. We're not back to the neocons. Why do they hate Trump then? The neocons still hate Trump. Trump did one thing that the neocons would be in support of, which was Iran. That doesn't mean Trump's a neocon. They hate him. I wish I had a way to mute Xphobic. He does not deserve to be banned or anything. I can't help but look over and see him in the chat. He is worthless, and it's not worth talking about. It's literally, here, let me debate. So everything I just said, right, about Trump having a hold, here, we'll leave Xphobic respond. Jews, 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 Now I'm good. Now I'm speaking the truth. I didn't say I hate you. You're just, it's talking to a brick wall. What about the Jews? We're already neocons. What about the Jews? Israel controls us. What about the Jews? We're already neocons. What about the Jews? We're already neocons. We'll find someone that vote Democrat, and then there'll be a magic candidate that comes up. I don't know who it'll be, and he'll fundraise. I don't know how he'll fundraise, and he'll get infrastructure. I don't know how he'll get the infrastructure. That's all up to the candidate. He'll decide it all. Anyways, vote Democrat. And it doesn't matter. Anything I say, you just repeat the same shit. So I am done talking to Xphobic. He's welcome to call in on the next call-in show, but it makes every show boring because it's me just talking to one guy saying the same fucking thing over and over again, and you could crush him a million fucking times with facts. And he's just like, yeah, but what about the Jews? Neocons? Like, I'm sorry? So it's a bad day for the people that think, hey, we're going to do something to replace Trump, you know. Not a good day. A bad day for the sort of neocon establishment Republican that dislikes Trump. Bad day. Al Green lost his election. You best know Al Green for being a race baiter and standing up during the State of the Union all the time and getting kicked out by screaming. Looks like he lost. Chip Roy, apparently, lost his election for, I believe, Attorney General of Texas. Now, as far as I know, let's see if I can figure this out. I think he was running for AG of Texas, Chip Roy. Yeah. Lost by about 10%. So he wasn't going to be a congressman anyways. He was going to be attorney general there in Texas. And yeah, So a bit surprising. I like Chip Roy, but an exciting night for the primaries. And it's undoubtable that Trump's endorsement still carries huge amounts of weight. Huge. And people could yell and scream, no, we're going to take the party away from Trump. Then you better make some moves. Because even despite all the doom and gloom, everything we see, and my guess is the Iran war won't be less popular than it is right now. I would guess that it'll be on less people's mind come the general election. Now, I could be wrong. We could end up with boots on the ground, etc. But I think people are most pissed now. And if this is the negative effect of it with Republicans, not with Democrats, not with independents, this shit may rightfully lose general elections, but that's not the scheme that people are cooking up. They're cooking up, how do we take the Republican Party away from Trump? I don't see it happening anytime soon. And Swobik, I would answer your question, but I'm done talking to you. So there is an answer that I have to your question. I just no longer find you an interesting person to talk to. If I want to hear someone screaming Jew or neocon, I'll tune into someone else. So you can call in and ask those questions during the call-in show. But yes, my opinion is that it won't be any less popular than it is right now. Meanwhile, there are some things that suggest Democrats are struggling a little. The increased, we could talk about it maybe tomorrow. The Hassan drama. My goodness. Just epic. Epic. Hassan's like squealing names right now before he's even been like pinched. Yeah, make no mistake, I'll say real quick. Had Massey won, had Cornyn won, the people that hate Trump on the Republican side would have been dancing in the streets. They'd been like, see? Oh my gosh, this proves. It's time for a sober look that Trump still has huge control over the party, like it or hate it. The Hassan shit's just going to be so funny, and maybe we'll cover it more tomorrow, but my goodness, he's already out there, like, just saying the dumbest shit. You can tell he's scared shitless, and this is what it's like. All the dude had to do was sit there and be quiet. He could have drug it out in law for like a year or two. Any Democrat fucking pardon the guy that gets put in a position eventually. So all he had to do is shut up. And you could have been seen as like, that guy's a man. He was like, I stood up to the authority of fascist Trump and I didn't blink. But no, instead he's acting like a coward publicly. But what I wanted to talk about tonight, let's Newark, New Jersey. There's an ice facility there. And would it shock you guys to know that once more, the left has decided to show up and get violent? That's right, the insurrections continue. Hooray, we're in Newark today. They were there yesterday as well, but back in Newark. So let's go through a little of this today. Shall we? This is from earlier today. Now, this apparently shows LaMonica McIver. This was the woman who before charged into an ICE facility and shoved a federal agent. Here she is going in, demanding access to an ICE facility again today in Newark. Shall we?
Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, who was charged with assaulting a federal officer during a similar stunt at Delaney Hall last year, was there. She posted yesterday, "I am back at Delaney Hall with members of our New Jersey delegation and Governor Sherrill. I'm talking to advocates and families, inspecting the facility and demanding justice. We've seen the inhumane conditions, heard reports of abuse, and there's one right option: shut down Delaney Hall." Meanwhile, DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullin dismissed the protest as nothing more than a...
All right. You can see, though, the goal is to shut it down. That's what they want. They don't want deportations. They want to shut down ICE and ICE facilities. So here's that peaceful protest, more of it. I apologize. I haven't seen all of this. So if there's foul language, apologies.
Back up. You get back. You get back. Fucking pieces of shit. You get back. Come on, sissy.
Oh God, my car.
We need the medic. Anybody needs some.
All right, same stuff you always see. First off, you see the lefties with their little pink tutus on, calling all these names that they're yelling, threatening, etc. to the ICE officers. Second, you can see what happens. They aggress while they're initiate a violent conflict. Then they act like victims. Oh my God, no, we need a medic. Oh no. Oh, please, what happened? We were just peaceful. We were doing nothing. This is ridiculous. You hear them threatening. We outnumber you 10-1. That's what they're threatening. I again remind you, the definition of insurrection that the entire left told us was a definition. Every single one of these events would be them engaged in an insurrection. So here what they're doing is they were setting up barricades, stopping the ability for ICE agents and vehicles to get out of the facility, surrounding the facility, harassing, intimidating, throwing stuff, etc. at these people, or at the ICE agents. Same shit. Once more, we see it sanctioned by official Democrats. We have a Democrat that was on scene going, "We demand to be left into the facility," working in tandem, at least when it comes perceptually and optically, with the violent insurrectionists. Again, this is why it's important to arrest these people. They will never stop. They will do it over and over again. There is never consequences for them. If this happened one time with right-wingers, one fucking time where right-wingers surrounded a federal building like this, harassing, threatening, using violence, it would be the biggest fucking crackdown that you've seen on right-wingers. That's why they have to cite January 6th all the time. Same fucking thing over and over and over, and nothing fucking changes. More footage. This is from later in the day.
Get the fuck back! 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 Get back! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
What is the lesson? Democrats have all of these institutional advantages to win elections. When they don't win, then they'll use violence and they'll get their way. They don't want deportations. They don't want them. So they'll riot, and yes, the Trump administration will back down again. Doesn't mean that we should prefer a Democrat administration that will give these violent thugs everything they want, which is stopping deportations. But yes, the Trump administration needs to get harsher on these people. 20 years in prison. Minimal. Give them the fucking January 6th treatment. Go through all their material, subpoena everything, see if they had any contact with any elected Democrat. Then investigate all of those elected Democrats shit. It will not stop. Let me give you a fucking bold prediction. It will get worse as the left loses more power. I say this over and over and am constantly vindicated. More from later in the night. You can see this is even darker. So this is from an hour ago. Now it's starting to look like they're being overwhelmed. The actual ICE agents are being overwhelmed.
Fuck you, bitch! Yeah, look at me! Look at me, pussy! Come here!
Where are the local police? Where are they? Where are they? Just like we saw in Minneapolis, just like we saw in LA, local Chicago police are given standout orders or don't show up. Where are they? Then you say, okay, well, the local police won't help, so we have to send in the National Guard, to which the Democrats go, oh my God, that's authoritarianism. They intentionally, as we saw with all the Telegram chats, they intentionally create conflict zones or flashpoints where there'll be violent altercations with federal authorities, which they know if you play out over and over again, they'll eventually get a martyr like Renee Good, which they then use as more evidence to stop the deportations. Same story over and over. This is why perceptually, what happened in Minneapolis, they got rid of Bovino. They basically pulled back, and it was such an optic loss because the lesson was, okay, that's all you got to do. Anytime ICE comes into your city, violently attack them. And when they fight back, we'll clip it, know that our media will run the message, which will eventually cause the Trump administration to back down again. Where are the Republicans in Congress? Where are they to do anything about this? I'll criticize Trump till I'm blue in the face about backing down, but at least he's actually putting people out there. What the hell are the rest of the Republicans doing? What are they doing? They can't even win a narrative on this. Nick Sorter has more, who does an excellent job at these events. Here's Nick Shorter showing you what they were up to earlier today. They're digging up cinder blocks for their barricade, is what they're doing. Here's a longer video from here 40 minutes ago. It's sort of put out. How many people didn't engage in violence that were arrested on January 6th? Once it was trespassing and unlawful, these are unlawful events once they're declared, which they are. Why shouldn't every one of them go to prison and be charged with the same shit that January 6th people? Why shouldn't everyone? Why shouldn't their lives be ruined in the exact same way? Why shouldn't that occur? Doesn't matter if they engage in acts of violence, we were told by the left. All that matters is they were trespassing on a place they weren't allowed to be. Okay. Once this is declared an unlawful assembly, same thing's true here. Why shouldn't every single one of these people be locked up? Every one of them. Why shouldn't the National Guard just be brought in to surround them and literally take them all right there and throw them all in prison? Every single one. I don't want to hear shit from the left. That's the standard that they set.
Your own people steal your shit. Watch Back the fuck up!
Again, they constantly, it's not just the touching, the pushing, and then when they get pushed back, oh my God, it's the blowing the shrill whistles in the ears that you heard before, all designed to get some sort of reaction so that they could be martyrs and be the victim.
Stop pushing fucking forward! What the fuck?
Free them all! Free them all! Free them all! Free them all!
I do agree with this message. They should free everyone in these places. Free them right to El Salvador. You got two options. You go home tonight, back home, or get your ass to El Salvador. That's where we're at. Actually, I don't. They should send them home against their will if necessary. Fuck them.
Free them all!
By the way, did you see it here? See how they're allowed to peacefully protest? See that? No problem. You want to sit here? It's just you can't block access to the place. You can't shove the officers and harm them. But if you want to stand there with the space, fine. Have at it.
All! Free them all!
But that's not enough.
Free them all! Free them all! Free them all!
See, they're not content with just being allowed to stand there and protest. Nope. They got to aggress.
I'm loving it.
Whatever.
Same as it ever was. How many times? You can probably clip me saying 100 fucking times. Get ready as the left loses power, as they become more desperate. Because one thing they say that's true. violence is the language of the unheard. Now, it's not true in the sense that you could certainly use violence even if you're heard in the way that they're talking about. And this is used as an expression to justify acts of violence by their favorite groups that they identify as oppressed. But there's a kernel of truth to it, and that is, if you have access to deal shit, like, Bill Gates isn't going to beat your ass. He's not going to put on brass knuckles and come fight you if you piss him off. He's going to sue you into fucking oblivion. He's going to ruin your life using his financial resources if he really wants to get at you. The more access you have to power, the less need you have to go use acts of violence. And what's ironic about the left is the overwhelming amount of violence they use, as basically all the institutions are on their side. For example, college campuses overwhelmingly not just left-wing, but increasingly radically left-wing. And yet, if some right-wing speaker wants to come to campus, they'll beat the shit out of people. Even though they have so much control. Doesn't matter, we want more. What do you think would happen if they lose that access to power? Well, they're going to get more violent. That's what happens. Every time. It's easy to predict. Oh, Republicans won this election pretty good? Yeah, there's going to be a lot of violence until the next election. Yep. And the violence will ramp up in the summer because the weather's better and as you get closer to election season. So, easy prediction to make. You're going to see more scenes like tonight and worse as the election season ramps up. And the Democrats are going to pretend they don't see it and say, oh, Trump's an authoritarian. He's cracking down. It's the exact same playbook we saw in 2020 with the Summer of Love with George Floyd. Same shit. Democrats will act like they don't see it. It's mostly peaceful. We don't see what the problem is. Oh, but Trump and his jackboots are cracking down. They're the problem. Vote Democrat. That'll be the argument. And then someone will die. And then it'll be evil Trump. Oh my God, look what they did now. Look what the fascists did. Same fucking story. Over and over and over. It's going to happen again. Easy to predict. Trump could stop completely all ICE operations in every one of these cities, and they're still going to have these riots. Because it helps their side politically. Say, look at how violent things are under Trump. Now, I agree. I don't think it's a good look for Democrats either. But that's still the playbook they run with. They want Alex Preddy. They want Renee Good. That is the best thing that can happen to the Democratic Party. We want to keep pushing our fucking lunatic base to go have violent confrontation with federal law enforcement, particularly ICE, and hope that one of them is killed. And then we're going to run on that. That's the plan. They keep setting the dominoes up so that they could then run on Trump's a fascist. That's what they did in 2020. They were begging Trump. Go ahead, do it. Send the National Guard. Go ahead. Because they're running on he's an authoritarian fascist. Trump didn't take the bait. He should have. He should have said, fuck you, I'm calling your bluff. But he didn't. So, they still called him an authoritarian fascist. And they just justified the riots. Again, I'll never, to the day I die, one of the most salient, clear political moments that I'll ever have is at the exact time that they were making excuses for mass riots occurring all over this country, they were telling us law-abiding citizens that we had to stay home because of a virus. The exact same time. I have never seen the stark two-tier system like that. Not just like today where it's like our side could go riot and you guys can't. Literally saying our side could go riot and protest and do whatever the fuck they want and your side has to stay home. And it worked. Now they want to pack the courts. What do you think that'll look like for the violent brown shirts that do the bidding of the Democratic Party? What do you think that's going to look like? It's so fucking tiresome. Over and 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 over. Same fucking story. How many times have I played the clip of me calling this out? When was it? Why does this never work? I hate the PC YouTube short. This video was from March 11th, 2025, that I'm about to show you. March 11th, 2025. Before Charlie Kirk assassination, right? March, we're just 3 months into Trump's term, 2 months basically. Seeing reports of Tesla buildings being attacked, people that drive Teslas having their cars vandalized. There's other stories of people that are suggesting on places like Reddit that Elon Musk and Donald Trump may need to be taken out. Make no mistake about it. I've said for years, all of the insane violence that we saw coming from the left, from places like Antifa, from way back when you saw them rioting at places like Berkeley to prevent people from going in to hear the terrible Ben Shapiro from speaking, riots that we saw on college campus, them locking Riley Gaines into a room, not letting her go out, other attacks that we saw all across this country during the Black Lives Matter, the Chaz Zone, all of this stuff. The irony was, all of this was occurring while the left had institutional power. And I said, if you think this violence is bad now, wait until they start losing those connections to institutional power. Now, they have direct connections in the sense that there were cultural connections, such as the people that were running things were advocating policies and at least paying lip service to the issues that these radical leftists wanted, such as Trans America, Black Lives Matter, etc. But now we're starting to find out that there are connections possibly in the terms of financial connections where we see NGOs that were possibly financing institutions that were leading to these sorts of people that then went on and engaged in different attacks. So I forgot to mention those against pro-life centers. Remember, the FBI couldn't get to those because most of those attacks occurred in the evening. Remember, that's what Chris Wray, head of the FBI, said? I predict that as we see these NGOs start to collapse and the funding dries up and the cultural shift starts going the other way, that these groups will become more desperate. Initially, they won't understand that they can't get away with it with impunity like the majority of the Black Lives Matter riots, and there will actually be consequences if there's any justice in this world. So you're about to see what I would predict would be an uptick in violence that occurs from these left-wing groups. They feel morally righteous. They've been gaslit into believing their opponents are Nazis, and you're justified in doing whatever you want against Nazis. They become more brazen in nonviolent attacks, such as going after J.D. Vance when he's walking with his daughter, and violent attacks in the form of vandalism and other things that we see, up to and possibly including things such as assassinations, which we've seen 2 attempts so far against Trump. So gird your loins, we're probably going to see more of these violent reactions from the left, and it'll all be smugly ignored, cheered on, or wink, wink, nudge, nudge from people in positional power in the establishment and on the left. How did I know? How did I know? As March 2025. Now Charlie Kirk's been assassinated. We had dozens of riots and attacks on ICE officers. More assassination attempts, more shooting at the White House. We're going to see more. We're entering the summer months, baby. Here we go. Summer months, midterm election. Here we go. Bring on the riots. It's just so tiresome. Same bullshit over and over. All right. Well, Charlie Kirk's death was a time to stand up. The attacks on ICE was a time to stand up. They failed. Again, I give Trump some leeway in that I guess he's one guy. He has to do it all himself. What have the Republicans in Congress done? What have they done? And when Trump tries to act alone, all right, fuck it, we'll send the National Guard. And there's outrage. Where are the Republicans? That doesn't mean we shouldn't criticize Trump. We should. He should have done more. I don't know that the riots will be as bad as 2020. No, but they're going to get worse again. Won't go to that level, but you're going to see it like you saw last summer. Now, I just want you to remember, all the Democrats in office, all of your Adam Kissingers and Liz Cheneys, all of the Democrats you see on CNN and that write for the New York Times or the Washington Post, all of the left-wing streamers you've heard me debate that gnashed their teeth and screamed over and over, January 6th, insurrection, attacks on law enforcement. Oh my God, you won't hear one of them, not one, speak up against this. Because they like it. If pressed, they'll be like, oh, no, I condemn the violence. Any violence I condemn. But this fascistic regime, what do you expect? Oh, well. Ken Paxton's having a hell of a night. Good for him. You guys know Van Jones? What do you think of Van Jones? Well, I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you one thing about Van Jones. Maybe you didn't know. You ready? Van Jones? He's speaking now.
This is a bad night for America. You have a good man running against a bad man, and the bad man won. And just as a parent, that's tough. I mean, this is bad.
Well, it's that simple. There you have it, right? There was a good man and a bad. You think that Van Jones was ever going to vote for that good man, John Cornyn? I love how they rewrite history, right? My favorite memes are like, remember when it was a civilized country and it was Obama versus Mitt Romney and we were civil? Dude, you motherfuckers called Romney a Nazi. Remember binders full of women? Remember that shit? What they're pissed about is that the other side started to be like, nah, fuck you. We'll play that game too. Oh, what? Wait, what? We remember when it was a good civilized country where we could just call you all fascists and Nazis and racist all the time. And you said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I promise I'm not those things. That was when it was a good country. And now that you tell us to eat shit, we don't like that. Yeah, Dyer gets it. What a breakdown. Well, one guy's good and he lost and the bad guy won. I feel bad for my kids. Next election, this guy's good. Yeah, well said. It's just so tiresome. me see if I have anything else for you on the Newark stuff. Just checking through some of the riot stuff. You gotta be careful with these clips because if heaven forbid that there be like gunfire, then you get booted off of Al Green lost. What was his message? What was Al Green running on? Does anyone know?
Thank you, Congressman.
Oh, okay. I guess not a winning message. Oh, shit. Well, you did it, Al Green. You did it, man. Amazing. Listen, I only had about an hour and a half for y'all, and then I was going to switch into grifting mode and do the chat of the month stuff tonight. So that's what we're going to do. We've done real piss poor on the donos tonight. That's okay, though. I don't mind. So we'll putz around until midnight, and then we'll start the chat of the month stuff. But basically what happens is we play a game where the last dono of the night that qualifies becomes the chat of the month, and you're just the best, and we make a song about how awesome you are, and it's just epic. It's the best. But also, we have half-price whip songs and all that bullshittery tonight. So let's read some super chat, shall we? Crisco says, Brian Shapiro, Jews, Trump, Epstein, can we talk about those yet? Or did you get your $7,000 this month? I'm waiting for it. I have not received my $7,000, unfortunately. Lavin, Bill Paxton and Bill Pullman were both in Brain Dead in 1990 and The Good Life in 2007. No shit! I wonder if they shared screen time. I don't know that I know either of those movies. Brain Dead and The Good Life. I'll have to check that out. Searsight, $5 says, good evening, Rob. Good evening to you. The Great Wade Boggs, $50 for the first whip song of the night. What an absolute generous man. Thank you, Wade. Naughty Germ, $5 says, can't be on my phone because new boss, so I'm sneaking this super chat. Naughty Germ, thanks so much, man. Don't get in trouble at work. You can always watch the replay. Thanks as always, though, man. Wade Boggs then gives 100. It says we need a dreidel whip song version for Xphobic. Okay, we could do that. Thank you so much, man. And then Adrian Little, what's up, man? $20 to assist with the piss poor donos. Thank you so much. It doesn't matter if they're piss poor. We still have fun here. But I'm supposed to like, rah, 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 rah. All right. Now that we've mentioned whip songs, now the rule's still the same if we get over $100 a month or amount. So it's not every $50, it's still every 100 when it comes to passing 200, then 300, then 400. But the individual donos are on half. So $1 and we'll play a whip song. But let's start with making a Jewish inspired whip song for our friend Xphobic. cat. So it's a very comprehensive system. All right, let's see. Meanwhile, my phone's blowing up. What's going on here? Oh boy. Oh my goodness! Gentlemen, we may be fucked! What? Your lyrics contain copyrighted material. Change it and try again. What? Wait, what? Now listen, is it a coincidence that the first time that we tried to do a Jewish inspired song, I got the clamps? Put down? Let's see if I make some simple changes. If something will change. Yeah, I'm all on vote Democrat. Fuck this. I hate Mark Efferberg. Thanks so much for the $5 over on Rumble. It says, thanks, Rob. Thank you. What the fuck? When did this change? I don't even know. I don't know what to say. What a terrible. What is happening? I mean, just out of curiosity, let's change the version from Jewish. And justice. I would shit if it flies changing the version. I would shit. I would be the funniest thing. All right, it didn't work. Let's see. I don't know what to do. That's just crazy. It's crazy. Well, we're not going to do this all night. We'll try one more time. Coach Mim got me. What the fuck? Huh. I think this might work. Adrian, thanks so much, man. Says can't stay. $30. Thank you. But to get to 64% of the goal in celebration of Paxton's win. God bless us all. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it, man. All right. All right. I think we've gamed the system. I think we've successfully gamed the system. All right. Let's try it. This is version 1 of our dreidel. I had to change some things. Let's see.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 Oh, a crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
All right, that's version 1. A little short. Number 2.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Hey! Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 A crack on the back says we are gonna fight. We are gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
I think version 2, we all agree. I thought it was sounded better, plus it's almost a minute. So we're going with that. Hey, we'll add it to the whip wheel. All right. What a nightmare, huh? Put the prompt more Jewy. I don't. All right. What a mess, huh? Now I got to find a way to make. I'm afraid all the songs are going to be super short now because I had to monkey with things. had to add like question marks and shit. What a mess. What an absolute mess. Now, let me check something real quick, and then I'll have more to talk about. Phobic, was it Jewish enough for you? He's obviously the expert. He knows. I could call my boy BB. Bibby, come on, man. Do I have the clip available where everyone's yelling Jew? You mean, by everyone, you mean Jews, 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 Jews. Now I'm good. Now I'm speaking the truth. Yes, 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 yes. Amazing. All right. So I owe how many whip songs? 1, 2. We did that. 2. I owe 2. I only owe 2. Well, it's $50 today to play one. $75 to request a specific one. 4 more. No, 1 for passing 200, and 1 for the 50. The $100 was to create a new song, which we did. Not a fan of primitive Eastern music. I don't know. You know what song I like that's not Jewish, but it reminds me of it, is Zorba the Greek. You know that song? It's a very catchy song. We used to play it when we'd be out drinking. I have my songs downloaded. I do. So I will spin the wheel twice. And if no one donates anymore, we'll just jump into the chat of the month section. Anyways, here we go. Oh, of course.
There's a way, where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the Light says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right, left, right. Where there's a whip, there's a whip. Left, right. Crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and night and more. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Yay! We did it. One more stupid one. Yay! Oh, sweet Lord, no. Wait. What's this one? I gotta change the title. Oh, man. By the way, I'm still monitoring the situation in Newark. So before we get to more whip songs, also if I do get raided tonight, I'm probably gonna pause the whip song thing for a little bit and go back to point out some of these riot that we see again in Newark. So here is this is Nick Sorter again. This is from about 15 minutes ago. So again, I'm gonna have a quick trigger on this in case there's anything that will be against TOS, but Nick's saying that they're doing a much better job today than they weren't yesterday at fighting back against these rioters. So you can see they're trying to prevent them from being able to leave. So these are ICE vehicles, and they're intentionally blocking, just like Renee Good, or just like you see Renee Good and them that were doing with their vehicles, trying to prevent vehicles from aggressing. This is one of the tactics they use. Now, of course, if you were going to get lethal, what you do is stop the cars, and then you're able to surround them at that point. So it's a very dangerous situation. Of course, they don't give a shit. That's the point. So you can see ICE here deploying pepper spray.
You better stay right there, sir. Stay right there. Move, guys. Move. Move. Make a line. Make a line.
as far as I'm concerned, being too generous at this point. As far as I'm concerned, they should actually be more aggressive. All of these people, I know they don't have the resources to arrest them all right there. Resources should be set in to make sure that each and every one of these people are given the January 6th treatment. Please stop. Constant. Aggress at you, then when consequences come, claim to be the victim.
Stay back. Get back. Push him back. Push him back. Come back. Come back. Come on. Come on.
Now, I remind you, one of these lunatics there in Dallas, remember, was shooting at ICE officers and hit actual people that were being detained. You have no clue what these vehicles could be doing at all, but you're blocking them. Let's keep going. Watch some more.
Back up!
Yes! Right in the fucking leg. Good for her. Move. We're trying. Now, dude, you're not.
You go for Robert. You go back up.
They're telling them, de-escalate, de-escalate. Fuck you.
Stay on the sidewalk. Stay on the sidewalk. On the sidewalk. Stay on the sidewalk. Are you up here? Good? Good? Hey, move! Move! Back up! Back up! Back up! Back up! Back up! Back up! Move! You're right. Back out of the road! Move! Go! Get back!
You go! Go!
What do you want us?
Go! Go!
Say more fun stuff. Would you be against this if it was the right doing the same stuff? Fuck you. I know you're a good guy, but I mean that. That sentiment, go fuck yourself, is how I honestly mean. Again, I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying fuck you. Fuck you right now for that. But what if the right shot, the left's version of Charlie Kirk? How would you feel then? Fuck you. That's my answer to you. Go fuck yourself. Don't fuck your posterity. Fuck everything. Fuck you. And I know you're a good guy. I'm just saying. You're just asking the question. I'm just saying that's my answer to that sentiment. Go fuck yourself. I am so tired of this. Well, wait a minute. We have to be magnanimous. And what if the other side was doing it? Fuck you. Fuck you. That's it. Again, I want to be clear. You're saying I got it all wrong. No, I know you're saying, oh, I don't believe that. I'm just telling you, my answer to that question is fuck you. That's it. I don't care to play this pussyfoot, but what about the other side? One side we see do this thousands of times. If the other side did it once, then Rob, what would your opinion on that be? Fuck you. Go back and watch what I said while January 6th was going on and then tell me. But I'm just, it is not the time or the place. By the way, this is the thing that Thomas Massey did that I hated the most about him. Now it's time. Let's look at it through both sides and let's calm down the rhetoric. And now, fuck you. And I know a lot of you like are well-meaning. And when you play that game, you lose. You lose. That's how they get you over and over again. Well, if our side did it, fuck you. I don't need to guess what would happen if this happens because I can watch it on a near nightly basis occurring from the left. So I don't need to think about hypothetical future situations. I don't need to. I saw the standard that was set in January 6th with how we treated people. Societally, culturally, criminally, I saw what happened. So I don't need to experience a hypothetical. The standard has been set. These people should all have their lives fucking ruined like January 6th people. That's what should happen. They all should be thrown in prison and fucking made pariahs. That's what should happen. Anyways, super chats. Darian Munshaw, $50. Thank you so much. 108 people and only 66 likes. Get those numbers up, mofos. We are a bunch of mofos here. Thank you, Darian. I appreciate it. And Blastspot, $100 says, they found a new kind of T-Rex. A mosasaur dubbed Tylosaurus Rex has been found in Texas. It's roughly twice the length of the great white and pretty cool. Let's do as many spins as we can for Rob. All right. So we got one for passing 300, and then one for Darian, and two for Blasterbot. So far we played two. So I owe 4 spins. All right. $5. Where's people getting 5? Let me see. Let me double. Maybe you're right. Christmas. Played 90s alt psychedelic and power metal. That was for the 2 we owed beforehand. We owed 2 before those. One was this, and one was passing $200. This one didn't count. It was before we reached the 200, and that was to create a version of the song. We created that version of the song. All right. So after that, then we had 1 so far lined up. Then we had that one was just 2 songs that we played, so they're not going to show up there. This put us over $200. So we played a second for that. As you can see, I've played 3, right? Now we passed $200. Then we had, that's another, that's 4. This is 5, 6, right? Wait. No. So we had 2. Yeah, so this would be 3. This is the third one. This is 4, 5, plus, because we passed 300, is 6. So we owe 6 total. Currently, I've played 2, which means I owe 4. So, all right, here we go. Christmas.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, where there's a whip, where there's a whip, oh, yes, why? Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a the dark Lord's war.
Yay! Oh, sweet. Horrible. That's really rude, Mullet Baby, and hilarious. Oh, punk mashup, of course.
There's a way, where there's a will, there's a way. Says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a way, there's a way. 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 Crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more, for we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Oh, I still hate all of these. Two more bullshittery. I'm not seeing any more footage yet of the riots. It might be winding down tonight, so in New Jersey it's going to be about midnight. But I don't know, we'll see. Bubblegum bass shrieking vocals. Nice.
There's a way, there's a way, there's a way, there's a way, there's a way. There's a way, there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Light says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day, all day. There's a whip, there's a way.
Horrible. I got a fun clip to play for you after this song. Very good. Disco metal. Yeah, that sounds right. I do like the double bass drum.
Today, but the Lord of the Last says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a way, there's a way. Left, right, left, there's a way. We're gonna march all day and night and night. For we are the slaves of the Douglas Lord's war. Where there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a way, there's a way. There's a way, there's a will, there's a way, there's a whip, there's a way.
Ha! Oh, wait. So, Paxton, actually, he starts attacking Tallarico, which is it's going to be a big race. Paxton, very funny, man. So listen to this shit. He's like doing like a Trumpian like stand-up routine. This is actually very good. So this is during his winning speech tonight here.
My opponent is the most extreme radical the Democrats have ever nominated. He's even running a vegan campaign, whatever that is. He goes by a few names that you may all have heard of. Some people know him as Tofu Tallarico. Some people call him Six-Gender Jimmy. I've even heard some people call him James Tallafrico. And others refer to him simply as Low T Tallarico.
A vegan campaign. I have a pair of Skechers that I wear, and they're vegan shoes. And I looked at my wife and was like, I don't know that I've ever had a pair of shoes that eat meat. You know, very interesting that I now own vegan shoes. I thought it was a good dad joke. I thought it was good. You know. What do I know, though? I'm an idiot. All right. Well, it's that time, folks. It's time to crown the new Chad of the month. Now, we'll still do the whip song shit if you donate at least 50. Those rules will still apply, etc. But we will start to ramp down the show. I put a timer up. When the timer gets to 2.5 minutes, the show's over. Give me a little grace. It's usually about 3 minutes. Because I have to check all to make sure no one donated. Whoever has the last qualifying donation, which is $20, is the Chad of the month. Last month's winner was Jim Hayes. If you win the Chad of the month, you get a song made about you in the style that you would like. And then eventually we'll have enough songs to have a little wheel where we can have all the Chad of the Month songs on there and could play those. Yes, it's midnight. That's what I promised people. Of course, we'll play the Jim Hayes theme before we start here. But he was last month's winner, which was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So we're going to play Jim's song, and you could learn a little about the absolutely stellar Chad of the Month, Jim Hayes. Here you go.
Shaking his frame while the room ran wild, he kept his name. Eyes on the prize, feet on the floor. He did what he said, then gave them more. They threw the pressure high, he never bent. He held that line and knew what it meant. One step, one breath, he stayed in view. When the whole night cracked, he broke right through. Jim Hayes, Chad of the Month. Jim Hayes, standing up front. Jim Hayes, won it clean, won it strong, won it right. Jim Hayes stood strong and owned the night. The headlines spun fast, the crowd got loud. He read the room, but he never bowed. Some nights hit hard, some nights go tense. He kept his cool, made perfect sense. When the dust settled down, he still held court. No fear in his chest, no need for support. They threw the pressure high, he never bent. He held that line and knew what it meant. One step, one breath, he stayed in view. When the whole night cracked, he broke right through. Jim Hayes, Chad of the Month. Jim Hayes, standing up front. Jim Hayes, won it clean, won it strong, won it right. Jim Hayes stood strong and on the night. Jim Hayes stayed tall through the mess that day. No backing down, no losing face. He turned that fear into first place. Jim Hayes, Chad of the Month. Jim Hayes, standing up front. Jim Hayes, won it clean, won it strong, won it right. Jim Hayes stood strong and owned the night.
The great Jim Hayes. Last month's winner. So now it'll be your chance to dethrone. I haven't seen Jim yet tonight. It'll be your chance to dethrone the great Jim Hayes. To be Chad of the Month. Now, it's going to be a good show tomorrow. We're going to talk more about John Cornyn and John Thune. And it's actually surreal the more I'm thinking about it. So I'm reading. Here, I'll read Peter St. Onge, who I follow. He says, no U.S. senator has lost a primary since 2012. 14 years since any sitting senator lost a primary. Republicans just had that happen twice in 2 days, or in 10 days. That is surreal. That's surreal. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow and what that means for John Thune and the Republicans. It is clear the base has had a fuck enough of them. And it's something that I've been harping on. And I can't stress this enough. I can't stress this enough. This was people working within the Republican Party to win primaries, to push the party in the direction they want. Not saying, fuck that, that sounds like hard work, vote Democrat until something falls in our lap. They spent $100 million on John Cornyn's race, and it was beat by a guy that spent less than a quarter of that. So that's going to be the theme of tomorrow's show. We're going to talk about what exactly that means going forward and the ways to actually utilize political power to drive the country culturally and politically in a direction that you want, that maybe you're disappointed that's not occurring right now. It's not about stamping your feet and being pissed off and saying, I'm not getting everything I want, so I vote Democrat. It's about working within the system to drive it to a better place. All right. You know the rules. $20 resets the timer. Of course, any donation over that works as well. Once we get to 2.5 minutes, I see if there's been any donations. Whoever gave the last at least $20 donation would be the winner. If you donate a single $200 donation, you are guaranteed to win unless someone matches or exceeds that donation. So if Imaginarium gives $200 and then afterwards Adrian Little gives 20, we'll still reset the clock with the $20, but it would still be Imaginarium would be winning. Right now, Blasterbot, who's had the latest qualifying chat, would be in line for the win. So if no other donations come in, Blasterbot is champion and chat of the month. I will begin to start the timer. Oh, last thing. You can donate, obviously, on Rumble, I'll see. You can donate on YouTube. You can also donate, and you have to let me know if you do this. You donate on PayPal at robnoerr. buymeacoffee.com/robnoerr. Or Cash App, $robnoerr. So you can donate on any of those platforms, but please let me know in the chat if you did, just so I know. Let it begin! We will crown a new chat of the month. It could be anyone. It could be a man. It could be a woman. Well, it can't be me. That's one rule we decided early. So remember, only $20 if you donate. Resets the clock. You want to hear something gross? I had a very strong Italian dressing on a salad for dinner. And I brushed my teeth and I even chewed some bubble gum. And I still fucking taste it. It's gross. I have to go brush my teeth again here at the end of the night. I don't know what it is. I prefer Italian dressing. If I had to pick a dressing, I could do French or Catalina, but I prefer normally Italian dressing. I don't know what you all think, what your favorite dressing. I like some pepperoncinis on my salad. That's always good. But I don't know. A Caesar dressing's good. I love the Olive Garden Italian. It's very good. Not a ranch fan. Eat a coconut bar. Coconut bar sounds good. Now look, I clearly would like more money and more donos. But I gotta say, if I don't get another dono of at least $20, Blasterbot being chat of the month sounds about right. Blasterbot's an amazing dude, so I could live with that. Greek dressing. Yeah, Greek dressing's good. Yeah. Yeah. But I never cared for ranch. I don't know. I could do like a balsamic vinegar dressing. I like that. Yeah, ranch should just be American dressing. It's not bad. Oh boy. Coming to that time. All right, we'll check it out. No donos on YouTube. I see that. Let's check Rumble. Make sure I didn't miss any of there. Nope. All right. We'll check real quick just to make sure no one sent anything over on PayPal. Nope. Cash App. Nope. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute victory for our good friend Blasterpot. Amazing. What a victory. I think it's well earned. A fantastic victory for our friend Blasterpot. Blasterpot, are you still in here? Give it up. This month's Chat of the Month, Blasterpot. Hey! Now, if you're here, Blasterpot, if not, I'll catch you the next time you're on. But if you're here, we will create a song of your liking. So whatever style you want, we'll create a song about you winning the Chat of the Month. So I don't know if he's here, but if not, we could just do it another night while he is here. Amazing, though. A giant victory for Blasterpot. A dino-sized victory. I don't think he's around. So. It's very much, what was that? There used to be this fucking, like, auction thing that you would see. What was it called? You'd buy these, it was like such a scam. You'd buy these, like, tokens, and then you could bid on items being auctioned. Once in a blue moon, you'd get something, like, super cheap. But most of the time, it was a scam. That's the way the Chat of the Month thing is. Some nights it's really hard to win because there's a bunch of people fighting for it. Other nights, everyone else is streaming, and you have very low stream numbers. That happens too. So you get an easy victory. But it's a victory nonetheless. All right. Well, I don't think Blasterpot's here, so I'll write it down. And the next time he's on, we will make sure that he knows. We'll create a song for him. All right. Well, folks, that's going to be the show tonight. Let's see. Who can we raid over? First, I got to go to my channel. Let's raid. We will raid over to... boom, boom, boom. We'll raid over to our good friend Cool Vic. All right, let me change this real quick. All right, well, I had a fun night. I hope you all did as well. Oh, shit, I screwed that up again. Hope you guys had a fun one today as well. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to do a daytime show, so we'll probably start around noon to do the call-in show. We'll probably try that tomorrow. And then, I don't know, I think I'll be on the extravaganza if that happens tomorrow. And then, of course, I'll be doing the nighttime stream. So we're going to talk a lot about the fallout of the primaries that we saw today. I think it'll be a good show. So Thank you to my editor, Black Elk. Thank you to all of my wonderful moderators. Thank you to everyone who donated. Big shout out to tonight's winner and the Chat of the Month, Blasterbot. Absolute champion that he is. Thanks to everyone else who donated and played. Thank you so much to everyone who liked the stream, chatted, or just watched. I appreciate you all. We had some fun tonight. We talked about some serious stuff, some fun stuff. But take a moment and just say a prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family. And never forget what the stakes are. We see again in Newark tonight, we see riots that are cropping up again. And never forget the violent left and just what they want to do to you. Don't forget it. Don't forget what those stakes are. So just take a moment out, say a prayer for Charlie and his family. All right, everyone, thanks so much. We will see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the raid of Cool Vic. As always, have a good one.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things, for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God of all.